Hello, my listeners from all over the world. This is Dr. Kim speaking to the world. Today I'm going to talk about the John's language. The Gospel of John. What kind of text it is? There are two kinds of texts in the New Testament, so to speak. One is the plain text. The other is metaphorical text. Plain text can be understood literally. For example, if Jesus is asking for a drink of water, that water must be certainly the drinking water. Literally, Jesus means by the drinking water, a cup of water. But in other occasions, Jesus says to himself, I am the living water. I am the living water. Living water, when Jesus says, this means more than drinking water. He refers to himself as something drinkable, which is weird and literally does not make sense. But it makes sense only when we understand Jesus being water as metaphorical sense. Metaphorically, he talks about his work as giving an impact on people's lives. So when he says, I am the living water, he is not literally living water, but his ministry can enrich people and can satisfy people's thirst. So in that sense, we can understand his meaning of I am the living water. So much so, John's Gospel is full of ironies and metaphors. Ironies means something you can see what is not expected, or you would see something unexpected. So irony shocks people. And for example, when Jesus says, I am the living bread, so people thinking he's crazy. Even more so when he talks about, for example, eat my flesh and blood, eat my flesh and drink my blood. That is really strange saying and weird, right? But Jesus doesn't mean that, people have to eat him or drink him, right? He is talking about his sacrificial ministry and life. When he goes on a difficult life, talking about loving God, certainly it is not easy. So he talks about kind of a cost for bringing in the rule of God to the world. When Jesus talking about, he's leaving the world, right? In chapter 14, John's Gospel, disciples thinking that Jesus going somewhere. But Jesus does not mean that, he's going somewhere, but he's leaving the world. He's going to die, but people did not understand it correctly. So John's Gospel is full of ironies, and those ironies should be taken literally. So we should go beyond plain text meaning, right? So if something is plain text, we can take it just literally. But if there's something, more than plain text, we should take it metaphorically. For example, even John chapter 1, there is a metaphorical verse. For example, John 1:14, the Word became flesh. This is certainly metaphorical text. It shouldn't be understood literally in the sense that the Word became flesh. Literally, we can make sense. So the Word, the invisible power of wisdom and spirit or reason of God became visible, right? So the invisible became visible, right? So somehow people can see the work or the Spirit of God through flesh, through Jesus. So that somehow we have to further, struggle to understand. In what sense we can understand John 14, the Word became flesh. Similarly, another very famous the I am sayings of Jesus in John 14:6. Many people know this and even preaching about this, but sometimes we don't quite fully understand what this means. John 14:6 has another important I am sayings. Jesus says to his disciples, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. So here, when Jesus says, I am the way, he does not mean that, he's literally the way, kind of a ladder to heaven, the highway going to heaven. But rather, in what sense he is the way? We have to ask, we have to wonder about his meaning. So probably one way we can think about his meaning is Jesus showing the way to God in the sense that, right, how we can live, right, how we can see the invisible God. So we can see God through the work of Jesus. So Jesus showed the way, the way to live, the way to find God. So in that sense, the way can be understood as Jesus, exemplary life. All he did showed us that kind of a way. Same way we can think of, the truth, right? Jesus showed the truth of God through his ongoing ministry. So Jesus is truth. Jesus is life because he made people's lives, rich. He enriched people's lives. So he is the life. So no one comes to the Father except through me means somehow what? People can feel and see and touch, the invisible God through the work of Jesus, through the work of Jesus. Only in that way, we can probably better understand John 14:6 when Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. So as we see here, John's Gospel must be understood metaphorically and carefully and faithfully. Otherwise, it is not a weapon to invade others in the name of love. Okay? So John 3:16, God so loved the world. So all his followers, Jesus' followers and his disciples have to do the same thing. Christians do not, have to or should, evangelize other people while they are not truly loving them, right? So we should be careful how we understand, John's mysterious language. Sometimes we do not understand. So today I briefly talked about the language in John's Gospel. So I said two kinds of text, so plain text and metaphorical text. So I have to stop now. So I hope to come back with another topic. Thanks for listening. God bless you. Bye-bye.